What's up guys, Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video we're going to talk a little bit about the new version of SketchUp that just came out, version 2022. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. There's a blog post on SketchUp's website that talks a little bit about what's new inside of the 2022 version. So you can go there if you want to read more about specifically what's included, about the SketchUp team member that's the new scale figure, as well as some of the new tools and functionalities that are contained inside of this release. All right, and so let's take a look at some of the new functions that are contained inside of this version. Note that you can also visit the full release notes right here to see everything that's been changed. Usually I go straight to the release notes to see the list of new features instead of reading the blog post, just because I find some things get left off, or there's just usually a little bit more technical and useful information to me inside of the release notes, but that's kind of up to you. I will link to both in the notes down below. So the first tool that they've added is the SketchUp Search tool. So basically what this does is this is a tool that allows you to look up and activate commands by typing. All right, so the way the search works is there's a new button up here. It says Search SketchUp. You can click and you can type in a tool and command. Alternatively, you can also type in Shift S to pop up this bar. But the cool thing about this is, let's say for example I wanted to find the push-pull tool. I could do this right here. I can click on it to activate the tool, but you can also activate tools from like extensions. So for example, if I do a Shift S and I was to look for true bend right here, it's actually going to find that and it's going to let me activate the tool from there. So if I was to make this a group and then do it, so Shift S, true bend, and activate it, notice how I can quickly activate the extension using this tool. So for me, I think this is a good thing to have because I think a lot of people struggle to find things inside of SketchUp. So it's also something that you find in like Blender, right? There's a search tools function, especially if you're searching across extensions. What this could do is instead of you having like 100 different toolbars up here, this could give you quick access to any tool inside of those extensions. So overall, I think this is definitely a good addition. All right, so we've also got the Lasso selection tool. And so what that does is, if you remember previously inside of SketchUp, what you could do is you could select things using this square box, right, by dragging left and right. But that was pretty much it. So if you had to pick up anything that wasn't like super square, then it didn't really work super well. However, with the Lasso select tool, this gives you the ability to actually draw around something inside of SketchUp, right? So if I drag in here, notice this is giving me the ability to quickly select different areas. One thing to note about this is it does support the left and right select function. So if you click and drag to the left, for example, this is going to select everything that it touches. If you click and drag to the right, it's only going to select the things that are 100% inside of that bounding box. So you can use this to select both geometry and also objects, right? So if I've got this group of trees right here, you can just use the select lasso, or you can do a shift space, by the way, and click and drag in order to pick up some objects. So let's say you wanted this group of objects right here, you can click and drag in order to get only those objects. And again, remember, if you drag from left to right, it's going to pick up everything that the lasso touches. If you drag from right to left, it's only going to pick up the things that were 100% inside of the shape that you drew. So from a selection standpoint, I can totally see this being a big time saver, especially if you're doing something like precision selection on a sandbox. For example, instead of you having to try to pick things up using the square, you can come in here with the lasso tool and just really quickly pick up the things that you need. So I think it's a little bit better tool in there, or at least a tool that definitely has some real benefits. So they've also added the ability to add a tag by selecting a tag. So for example, if I was to select cabinets and click on this option right here, I could tag these objects just by clicking on them. And so notice how when I did that, what it did is it added the cabinets tag to these cabinets right here. And so I could also select the furniture tag, right, for these chairs right here. Then I could click on this and I could click on these in order to put them on the furniture tag, right? So if I look at this, you can see how now these have been added to the furniture tag, so I can toggle them on and off like this. And so you can also pre-select groups of objects. So let's say I had these all on the untagged layer. I could select them. I could select the furniture tag and then click on this. And if I click, notice how it gives me a purple box indicating that it's going to apply this tag to all of them. So there's some interesting modifiers to this as well. So the control key to toggle tag all instances is interesting to me, because basically, let's say that we had all of these, and then they were untagged. So I was to untag all of these like this, right? If I was to want to tag one of these with the furniture tag, and then I wanted all of the instances of that component inside of the model to show up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a component. I'll just call this a chair, and I'll make a copy of it right here. But notice how both of these are on the untagged. Well, if I use this tag tool, I hold the control key to toggle tag all instances. What that's going to do is that's going to tag all instances of that component with whatever tag I have selected. So this could be a quick way to go in and re-tag things. Personally, I don't know that it's going to change my workflow all that much, but if you're more visual and you're like clicking on things to tag them, I suppose it could be a good tool for you. So they've also improved the Freehand tool. So I don't know anyone that was really using the Freehand tool all that much previously, but it was also really hard to control. What the Freehand tool does now is now it allows you to create more smooth curves when you draw with the Freehand tool. It also gives you control over the segmentation of the curve. So I think it gives us some interesting applications for like paths along surfaces and things like that. So if we were to use the Freehand tool now, so we're just going to click in here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a group first. But if we were to click in here and draw along this surface, notice how if I tap the control key, it's going to reduce the number of segments that are in there. So what that ends up doing is that starts making this a lot smoother curve. So I can also tag the Alt key. Notice how when I tag the Alt key, it's going to add segments in here. So I think this is an interesting improvement. It just feels kind of twitchy to me still. So the problem with this tool has always been that you click in here and you get these like little ups and downs just based on the way that your hand uses the mouse. And I think it's useful to be able to tap the control key and kind of smooth that out. So I think that's a good function, but it's still just, there's not a lot of auto smoothing that goes on in here. I think over in Blender, for example, you get kind of some auto smoothing when you draw things with like grease pencil, where with this one, it's just so hard to get something that's smooth, even with the removal of these different points in here. So I think it's interesting. I'll be interested to see if people start using this a little bit more. For drawing paths and stuff, it could be a little bit interesting. So we'll just have to see how that goes, but that tool definitely did need an improvement. So we'll see if this was the improvement that it needed. All right, so this next one's a little bit interesting. So basically what they've done is they've added the ability to lock the tangent of an arc tool. And so previously the way that this worked, so normally what you would do, right, is you would click and you would drag to create a curve, or not click and drag, but you would click again, but then you'd move your mouse, and notice how it kind of starts off blue here, but then if you were to click, right, you would have to move your mouse and click again in order to find that tangent line. So that's how you would do tangents previously. And that worked fine, but it's a little bit clunky because what you're doing is you end up like redrawing things over and over again and restarting the tool, that kind of thing. With this, however, what it does is it gives you the ability to, so if I was to draw off the end of this, you can tap the Alt key. So notice how there's a menu option now for Alt Toggle Lock Tangency. What that means is that now I can move my mouse and I can just click to set a point. So what it's going to do is it's just going to allow you to automatically draw the tangents to those curves. So instead of you having to go find those again, notice how it's really quick to just add the additional curve in here. So this one I actually like. I think it really kind of makes this a lot easier to use. You're going to spend a lot less time drawing the tangents in there, which is really what you use to create your smooth curves. So overall, I like that improvement to the tool. So another function they've added that's interesting to me is they've added a search function for your scenes. So if you ever created a model that just has a ton of scenes in here before, I've seen them from architectural groups that just have like tabs and tabs and tabs and tabs in here. You can do a lot of clicking left and right in order to find the different scenes that you're looking for. Well, one of the cool things that they've done here is they've added the ability, if you click on this, in order to filter your scenes. So one of the cool things is it's going to give you this list of scenes that you can click on in order to go between the scenes, but you can also type in something to filter it. So now what that does is that gives us the ability to really quickly find scenes in our scene list. One thing that I am still hoping for in the future is a way to like group scenes together, keep them organized. I'm not sure how that would work with the top bar, but it feels like it would be pretty easy to do with the scenes bar over here, at least from a functionality standpoint. But this does give you the ability to quickly get to those scenes. I really like the drop down in here that shows you all of them, where you can just click on them. I think that's going to be a huge time saver for a lot of people. All right, so there are some other changes in here that are just kind of usability changes that I think make a lot of sense. So one of the big ones is they've improved the section planes, where now, even though you see the section planes when they're turned on, you can still click and select objects that are under those section planes, where previously it was really kind of a pain, right? Because you had all these section planes in here and you would click to try to access your building or whatever you had drawn in here, and it would just select the section plane. So they've changed the picking logic. You can still pick things down below those planes, which I think is going to be a massive workflow improvement, because usually what I ended up doing is just toggling those planes on and off. You may still do that, but I think this is going to be a huge improvement. They've also got some improvements to the clipping. I haven't had a chance to test this, but if you've ever had like a model where it was a long way away from the axis, right, like a really big model in the 3D space, you might run into some issues where some geometry was like clipped out. Right, so it was like cutting out part of your model so that you couldn't see it. Well, they've got some fixes in here. You shouldn't really see that significant clipping that you might see when you switch to parallel projection view in 3D. I have not tested if this affects being able to create like elevations with the actual clipping in there that we've used for layout for a while. So they haven't fully fixed the issue where the model is huge, but then if you zoom into something small, it produces clipping. But when you do a hide rest of model, then it should reinterpret the view in order to fix that. So I don't know if that fixed that for the entire scene or just a part of the scene. I'm not really sure on that one, but they have at least made some improvements in here. Also, standard views respect model axes. That one is really interesting to me because the issue that we've always had is if we had like a house like this, right, that's on an off axis, and we try to go to a front view, you can't go to a front view in here. It just goes to that like standard looking along the standard model axes. However, now if we adjust the model axes, so let's say for example that I was to put this on this surface right here like this, so now if we click on the front view, notice how your front view is going to be aligned with your model axes right here. So this is a big improvement because it was just kind of a pain to get your model view to align with this. Now you can get your model view to align with wherever your axes are, which I'm personally a big fan of. So there's also some tape measure tweaks in here. So basically, the big one for me is now with the tape measure tool active, if you click and then move your mouse, it's not going to clear out the measurement inside of the measurements box. So I think that's going to be a good improvement. There's also some kind of under the hood things which you can read about yourself right here. They've also added a couple functions to layout. So first off, they've added a zoom selection command. So basically what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to zoom into an object that you select just by right clicking and clicking on zoom select, or you can use the Alt-Z function. So they've also got some additional AutoText labels, which I think are going to be really good. What you can do is you can pull additional information from your scene. They've got the list right here, but you can pull in things like scene names and scene descriptions with your AutoText, as well as things like your scale. So you can also do coordinates. And then down below, I really like the page management AutoText, because what that's going to do is that's going to give you the ability to show a page count automatically based on the number of pages you have, as well as pulling your page name. So I like the AutoText improvements for sure. I think those are going to give us more abilities to kind of automate our documents inside of layout. So they've also added a find and replace text tool. So that's going to let you do a find and replace inside of your documents. So if you need to find things quickly and adjust them, that's definitely a massive improvement. So super excited about that one. So they've also added a couple AutoText scrapbooks. So my understanding of these is these are designed to just show you what the AutoText can do. So these are like an example scrapbook to highlight the AutoText functionality. So you can drag those scrapbooks into your layout scenes. We've talked about scrapbooks scrapbooks in the past. So you can use those inside your scenes or just use them to kind of reverse engineer the way everything's working. Down below, they've also got a number of different bug fixes and other things like that. You can read through this entire list yourself, but we've definitely got those down below as well. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about these new tools. So I do think some of them could significantly improve your workflow speed. So the search for finding different things in your extensions could be a big time saver. The lasso select is great for the non-square selection thing. So I think that could be a good thing as well. So there's a few things in there. I really like the orientation of the view with the axes too. That's something I've struggled with in the past. So those are some things I really like with this release. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.